And welcome back to We Bombastic Few, episode number 11 of season 2. Guess who's back? Back again. We're back, and I can't continue that because that's copyrighted. All right, so today with me, as always, Lindsay. How's it going?
Doing great. How are you today, Brent?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. And Kevin is a new guest to the podcast. Woo, woo, Kevin, we like Kevin. Not really. Not yet. You have to prove yourself, Kevin. How's it going?
I'm doing well. I was doing better before you told me that this is now a test. I don't feel like I studied for it, but sometimes you just gotta get in there and fill out that Scantron.
That's the spirit. Number 2 pencils only, please. Number 1 pencils are not allowed. Pop quiz. Do you guys know the difference between like 1, 2, and 3 and such pencils?
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
That's
Brent
why I'm
knows
administering
everything.
the test.
Uh, no idea.
All right, so the thickness of the lead. You took way too long. All right,
I could
so
have guessed that, but I'm a loser.
Kevin, tell us a little bit about yourself, and I'm looking for a specific answer.
So my name is Kevin, and I met Brent 3 weeks ago,
Something
three or
like
four,
that.
something like that. He came into my life at a time when I really needed someone like Brent the most. I was moving to a new city. I was wide-eyed by the city lights, just a small-town girl coming here. And Brent came in and he put his arm around my shoulder and he said, "Listen, I know things are confusing, but I have a podcast." And at that point, I knew that Brent was just a world leader, someone who I was ready to follow to the ends of the earth. So here I am.
I was
Well, you gotta be
that
careful
was
because he will take you to the end of the earth and push you off. So watch your back.
because the world is flat. I was actually just looking for the answer of we're interns together to segue into my icebreaker, but I like that answer much better. Anyway,
We are interns together.
um,
At
I
a
can't-
at an undisclosed company.
yeah, an undisclosed company doing undisclosed actions.
Yep.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
but
NDA, right?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone signed the NDA, right? Anyway, so it is in. I will say it is in manufacturing, and specifically, as the dedicated listener will know, I'm an electrical engineer, and so the other day we were shut up. The other day there was a problem with one of the machines, and it happened pretty early in the morning. No one could solve it. Like everyone was at the computer. We had like the maintenance people who'd been there for years, other engineers, me, the intern. Just everyone was around this computer looking at a different. Like there's a computer system that monitors signals. And so everyone's looking at that to try and solve what's wrong with this machine. And then I'm looking at it, I'm like, these signals, they're like more grouped together than the other ones that we're like comparing them to. And I point this out and I'm like, it's going too fast. Because the x-axis is time and the signals were like too scrunched up, and I was like, I've solved it, it's going too fast. And I like at this point they're like, that might be it. They make a call like to the people at the radio operator, and I'm like, I've done it. The CEO is going to come down, he's going to roll the red carpet out for me, he's going to shake my hand, I'm going to get stock in the company. I'm on the fast track. And then it turned out that it was nothing, and that was just how it operated. And I was very sad.
Oh man.
But
I just imagine you. Like the MC of an anime, just pushing your glasses up and like the light glinting.
yep.
You just call out the answer.
Yeah, that's what happened in my head, but in reality, that
So your future life flashed before your eyes. You were hoping and dreaming for so much more money, so much credit, not having to worry about where you're gonna live or what you're gonna do with your life ever again, and then it all got stripped away from you in a matter of seconds.
Yep. I will say though, it wasn't a stupid thing to suggest because like they did have to call that to the people who were working at the machine and be like, "Yo, is this the problem?" So it wasn't like a stupid idea, but it also wasn't the solution. But moving on, today's segments, we got a new one for you. It's called Obtaining Occupations. I'll explain what that is later. We got a hypothetical, because what is a podcast without a hypothetical? And we've got some more shower thoughts for you. But before we go into that, bombastic word for the day is flibbertigibbet, which is a frivolous, flighty, or excessively talkative person. Kevin, I'm going to need you to stop being such a flibbertigibbet for this episode.
You've talked way more. So I'm pretty sure you're the flibbertigibbet.
You're
Gibbet.
the flibber, and we're just the gibbets over here.
Oh, I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult.
Definitely an insult.
It's both.
Anyway, so obtaining occupations. Basically, the idea for this is we're going to set up a job, and we're going to be like, yo, what do we have to do to get this job? And for the new segment, we're starting big, President of the United States. So I want to become President of the United States, but in this specific scenario, I don't want to do any effort. So the way that I'm going to accomplish this is the line of succession. So basically, if the president is no longer able to serve in his position, it falls to someone else, and then if they can't, it falls to someone else, etc. And so I want to know, how far does this need to go until I just inherently become president with no effort? So
with no application, no credit.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. But so first off, to start out, do you guys know the line of succession? How far can you go? If you don't get the first one, you're officially not an American.
Well, I do have the Wikipedia up.
Oh my God. No. All right. Kevin's disqualified. Lindsay.
I do have the
little quick fingers here.
Wikipedia up.
No.
Can I get some clarification for just a second?
Yep.
Are you asking, so how far does it have to go before Brent, electrical engineer intern, is just like chosen to be president?
Exactly.
Okay, Kevin, we might have to call the authorities, because it sounds like Brent might be a terrorist trying to take over the United States.
That's a very good point, and I think I do think that as Brent is posing this question to us, he knows that, like, with our collective, power and obvious pros and
influence
on a podcast, right, over the internet, like, we could make this happen. So are we going to fall into the trappings of Brent's, segment? What, even a segment to be president? Interesting, Brent.
100% we're going to help him. 100%. How can we do this?
Yeah, exactly. All right. So the good sidetrack, but Lindsay, so president is no longer able to serve immediately. Who's the next guy?
So like vice president.
Okay, yes, good. Next one I'd be okay if you don't get.
Isn't it like someone high up in the Senate or something like that?
I thought it was 2, but it's actually the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
I knew it was high on one of the sides. I just didn't know which one.
But so the line of succession is Vice President, Speaker of the House, and then President pro tempore of the Senate. And then it goes Secretary of, and then each of these, that title is in front of like all these. State, Treasury, Defense, Attorney General, which isn't a Secretary of, but then it goes to Secretary of the Interior, Agriculture, Commerce, Labor, Health and Human Services, Housing and Urban Development, Transportation, Energy, Education, Veteran Affairs, and then Homeland Security, which I have a couple questions about that.
What's the number, though? What's the number of how far back they're prepared?
17.
And is that the full list?
Oh, wait,
or is that
18. But because technically the Secretary of Transportation, I think, currently isn't eligible for presidency, because there are 3 requirements to become president. Can you name these 3 requirements?
Citizen.
Yeah. Well,
you have to be
more specifically.
35, question mark? You have to be born in the United States.
Yes.
You have to be like over 35, right?
Correct.
And then what's the last one?
The last one is it's related to the first one. Sort of. Kind of. In the same vein. All right, you have to live in the United States for at least 14 years. So I technically don't even satisfy the conditions to be president, because I am not 35 years old, but I meet the other 2. So at minimum, all 35 and all people 35 and above have to die. Sorry.
And
Or
so push comes to shove, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So and technically you'd be like, oh, but 34. No, once the last 35-year-old is dead, that requirement goes out the window. They don't care about that anymore. So, and then also I'm gonna exclude all babies, which is like under 1 year old. I don't think they have any claim to be president. Well, actually,
They've got
anyone under
more claim
14.
than you do.
Well, no,
They've got more claim than you do.
Why?
Just messing.
Okay, no. So
You got so insulted.
well, yes, I think I'd make a better president than a baby.
What's wrong with a baby leader? They're so pure and innocent. They can never do anything wrong. Everyone looks up to them. I mean,
Looks
kind
down.
of.
Can a baby do calculus? No, I can do calculus. Boom.
Yeah,
I've never. No
Can
one's
our
ever
current
confirmed
president
that Trump can do it.
exactly.
That's a good question. I wonder how many presidents could do calculus.
We should email him.
All right.
now.
Right now, I got a direct line here. Dear President, can you do calculus? Thank you. But so 35. So like we're looking for people between the ages of 34 and 14, because for those.
Before, how do we get rid of all 35 and up year olds? Or I mean, sorry, not we.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not gonna self-incriminate myself here.
The universe happenstance, right?
Well, no, it was TikTok. There was a new thing on TikTok where you had to watch it to live, and I don't even have TikTok, but I saw it from a friend's phone. So
that's smart.
And everyone clearly everyone over the age of 35 doesn't even know what that is. So
right.
Yeah, TikTok's what the clock does, right?
basically. So, going into my qualifications, here are like the reasons I think that I could be president. So, I'm going to start out with my connections to the government. Number 1, I have a library card.
Whoa.
I'm sold right there. That's all.
Having fun ain't hard when you've got a library card.
Well, I've told other people this too, and they laughed at me as well. But no, like technically, the library is controlled by the government, and I have a library card. Therefore, I'm a part of the library. So that eliminates the other people who don't have a library card.
I would like to say, so far, I'm still in the race.
Okay, all right. I go to. Sorry.
No, I was just saying I am too.
Let's go.
Well, how many different county branches do you have? I have 2 different counties.
No,
I've got at least 2.
At least 2.
All right, I'm out.
Kevin doesn't have enough library cards. He can't be president.
But I do have a TikTok account.
Well, I watched your TikTok account, and so I lived.
Okay, so I'll be your the secretary of TikTok in your administration.
I guarantee you, in a couple of years, there's going to be like instead of just a head of social media or something, there's like the head of TikTok, the head of Twitter.
That's funny. So I bought a car last weekend, and I went to test drive it, and I went through. It was by where I used to live, so I drove the neighborhoods. Someone outside had like a car an SUV that looked like a cop car, but instead of having like county police or whatever, it had whatever county or city media department. It's like there's actually like already like division set up for social media.
Well, did it have like lights on it though?
Yeah.
What? There's a TikTok opportunity. Everyone get off the road.
Cyberpunk dystopia. If your TikTok doesn't get enough likes, they just come and take you away.
Oh man, oof. Anyway, so I've got my library card, right? I go to
You've got two.
I've got 2 library cards. I go to a state college. Technically, that's a part of the government. So
okay.
That's a qualification. Also, I do have a pharmacy technician license. So I think those are what?
Okay, but I work for a company that supplies certain vehicles for government. So I work almost.
But do you have like security clearance or anything?
Somewhat, yes.
But okay, nope, doesn't count. Somewhat is.
Oh, it's more than you saying I go to a state school. It's 100% more.
Well, all right. So it's so what other thing do you have? Because I equivalent state school to security clearance.
That is not the same thing.
It's basically the same thing.
I'm officially electing myself mediator since due to my lack of multiple library cards. So,
okay.
The first thing I would like to throw out is a bit of knowledge that I do have about our friend Brent is that he will have his bounty hunter license.
Oh yes, this is a fact.
But
Eventually.
that's something that most government people don't like, is to see bounty hunters try to do police officers' work.
That's a good point.
So that's just
all the government officials are already dead because like we literally had to kill the person who works at the post office, or well, we didn't. Sorry. Something had to kill the worker who works at the post office because technically he has a better claim to presidency than I right now.
So Alexandria, I'm gonna Ocasio-Cortez, AOC. Right? Do you know of her?
No.
Okay, 30 years old. She is a representative for New York. So there are politicians who are under 30. What bearing, or under 35, excuse me. What bearing do you have over them?
Well, I figure they just might need to die as well. Pretty much anyone who works in any form of the capacity of the government right now would probably have to pass away because I technically don't work for the government.
Someone's situation, when it comes to people like that who are kind of under your basic, you've already narrowed it down to people under 35, but there's still some people that are more qualified than you are in this hypothetical situation. If you are going to have to do this, are you going to have to take out these specific individuals by hand?
I, of course, wouldn't, because this would not be me doing these actions, because that would be despicable. But, of course, theoretically, yes, I would do it by hand, or with a piano string.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
It gets to be this situation. There's literally just like 10 million people left on Earth, me and then a bunch of 14-year-olds, and they're like, or 13-year-olds, and they're like, all right, you're president. But then this gets out there, and they're like, I don't know. He might have organized all this.
And then you just do a TikTok dance, and they forget all about it.
Well, we don't want to shame our sub-14-year-old listeners, though.
Okay. I apologize. I love TikTok, and I do the dances in the mirror before I go to work.
Every day. Psych
Every
yourself
day.
up. All right, so
Yeah, motivation.
So in conclusion, how many people do you think need to pass away or be incapable of serving before I get to be president? I think there's like 330 million people in the United States.
60% or more.
Of hold on, USA 2020. Yeah, 328 million. So how many did you say, Lindsay?
I said at least. I think I'm gonna guess, just shot in the dark. At least 60% of people would have to be incapable of serving.
Okay. Kevin, how many people do you think need to?
Just talking about age, right there. That's
I
all.
think there would have to be 1 million people left in the country, and you would have to be the oldest one.
Wow. All right. So I have my work cut out for me, or not me.
It's not impossible. I want to say it's not impossible.
Exactly. And that's the spirit I need to believe in. But the funny thing is it would honestly probably be easier to do the work to become president. But
We'll just be a billionaire. That's
yeah.
easy.
Boom. And then that's a good point. I don't know. Anyway, all right. So I'm going to become president as soon as there are only 1 million people left in the United States. Do you think they would well, no. I guess they wouldn't outsource to like Canada. It's like, listen, we're desperate. Can you send us a president?
I'd vote for you.
All right. Cool. I got 1 vote. And I'll write myself on the ballot. So we got 2 votes.
I would vote for you if we didn't discuss about how you would become president.
All right, fair enough. Lindsay, you got a bombastic quote?
Yes. I got something if it leads I have flirted with Jenna Bentley, not look which Italy that I have ever done.
By the way, that is also from.
I have chills.
That's from the speech to text of one of our episodes from the podcast, because we didn't come up with a bombastic quote, but technically we did because we said that with the internet's help. All right, Kevin, you have a hypothetical.
I do. Let me set the scene here for a second. So there's 1 million people left in the continental United States.
Okay.
Brent is the leading front runner for president.
That's
Okay.
scary. That's scary.
I like it so far.
The thing that, as an electrical engineer, he knows about particles and physics and, just working hard, putting in work. The thing that cinches his run for president, the thing that gets him in office, is he develops a device, a small box. You can put something in that box and it will duplicate it. 2 things come out of this box. So everyone, and he can mass produce this, everyone can duplicate any items. They also find out ways to make the box bigger. You can duplicate houses, you can duplicate trees, you can duplicate paper towel.
Paper towel?
And this is all paper towel. Paper towel. Everyone needs it.
Why singular?
From Brent's presidential run. What does the world look like now that everyone has these boxes that can duplicate items?
All right, so first I want to put a limitation on this. I'm going to say
Okay.
You can't duplicate something that has been duplicated. So you have one paper towel, you duplicate it, you still need an original paper towel that wasn't made by one of these machines. So theoretically at some point you still need an original copy of these items.
Okay.
Wait,
Accepted.
so you're telling me, say I've got one rock.
Yep.
I duplicate it.
Yep. You got 2 rocks.
I've got the original rock, and I've got the new rock.
Uh-huh.
I cannot put in the new rock, but I can put in the original rock again and duplicate it again. Is that
Correct.
What
You could duplicate that original rock 1,000 times, but if someone steals that original rock, you're stuck with 1,000 rocks. You can't make any more.
Can you tell the
There has to be some way to tell the difference, I would think, or else you wouldn't really, or I don't know. I guess. What do you think? Should there be a difference?
I don't think so. I think
I
you're just
don't
going to
think so.
tell the difference.
Okay, so you can't tell the difference.
You'll be able to tell where you set it in the box. Okay, so if you put something in the box, is the duplicate machine going to put the new one outside the box, or is it also going to be inside the box?
Outside the box, because or else you'd need a really large box if you're duplicating a house.
Okay, sweet. So you already know which one's which, so you don't have to mark it or anything while it's being duplicated. You already know which one's
You already know which one, but the second you take that rock out of the box, you're like, crap, was this in the box or was that one in the box? I don't remember. But you could just test it, but that could be a lot of work.
Well, I can't keep track of all my lemons.
Yeah.
Which lemon is the original lemon?
All right, so first thing I'm thinking, manufacturing jobs are a thing of the past. Who needs robots to build random iPhones? Who needs robots to build iPhones when you can have one person build one iPhone and then just duplicate all of them?
Right.
So, but the interesting thing though about not being able to duplicate duplicates is, so theoretically, let's say you are making iPhones. So you make your original iPhone, you duplicate it, you sell those. People still need to come to you to get an iPhone because they don't have an original. So suddenly we have a Coca-Cola situation where it's you have the secret recipe, which is the original item, and that is kept under ultimate lock and key.
Right.
So the original is very, very valuable because it is almost priceless due to how it can bring priceless profit.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so
can you duplicate people? just put your baby in there. So you got
Put your baby in the box, then get a new baby, and then confuse which baby is yours. Technically both. I'm gonna say no. We can't duplicate people.
Okay.
That's cruel and unusual punishment because everyone would just be fighting
Right.
their doppelgangers.
It becomes
Like
a Highlander
the end of
situation.
Avatar.
Honestly,
Yeah,
that's a separate hypothetical in its entirety. You can only duplicate things. So, what would jobs look like? Because it's hard to imagine a system. So, because you can duplicate anything, you just need an original. And so,
Right.
like, what kind of jobs would be left? There'd be people who make like original items for sure. But what
So-
other occupations would there be?
So I'm thinking let's use the iPhone example.
Okay.
You still need like a warehouse situation because you need to be able to deliver and package items.
Okay,
When
sure.
you're making. But you so why don't, instead of spending the money on people or machines to make the product, that you spend that money getting jobs for people to protect the original product.
But theoretically, in this situation, so you're saying security and transportation. Theoretically, a company could make a single super advanced unmanned drone, and like you make one Amazon drone to deliver packages, and you have a fleet. And you make one super intelligent, really nice security guard, and you have an army.
I mean, yeah.
So
But as of right now, we don't have the security guard that you're talking about. At least, I mean, the drone idea is
Right.
a good counter, but as of right now, we don't have a freaking
a
RoboCop.
RoboCop? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
what I was imagining.
Inventors become the kings of industry.
Definitely.
Because if you can make it, you can produce it infinitely.
Uh-huh. But so let's say like your average Joe, because like is money even? So let's say you're just an average Joe. You like your basic needs. You need food, clothing, like housing, whatever. You want a house? You could like theoretically go to someone, and I suppose they would charge you, but you just get a new house duplicated. But like let's say for food though, you could theoretically grow one potato, and then boom, until that potato rots, you're chilling with food.
Right.
And same
I
for
do think
clothing.
that the restaurants are generally untouched by this because the food will rot. So you have to keep making more food.
That's a good point. What other perishable goods besides? Well, I guess just mainly food. But of course, you would still have to develop new technology because, well, yeah, it'd still go out of date. What
Energy,
I
energy,
you could
gasoline?
duplicate uranium
coal.
or coal. Yeah,
Does-
coal.
I mean,
Oh.
sorry, environment.
Well, but we could duplicate like a bottle of anti-coal or what's something that cleans the environment? Like you could duplicate gases, so you could be like, "Yo, let's duplicate this canister of nitrogen," and it's like, let's just manually make the atmosphere back to what it was.
Duplicate ozone. From the
Yeah,
layer.
yeah, that's how can you? Well, okay, so theoretically, how are we gonna get ozone into a box?
Well, you just you take the box to the layer, put the box around the layer, and
Okay.
then duplicate.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sure.
What would
just-
happen if you put the box around the whole Earth?
You duplicate the Earth, but you'd need a box that big. You could.
But would you want, first off, if you get a box that big, would you want to do that and mess with the orbiting of another planet
That is.
right next
Oh,
to it?
dude. If you were to, depending on if you get to choose where this thing ends up, or if it just ends up like right next to it, almost like unless you get to make it very far away, we're dead. Just like
Right. Wouldn't the two Earths just pull into each other?
yeah. Or and the like
The
other
second one
planets
wouldn't be
would.
spinning at all, so it wouldn't be an orbit. It would just be a pull. So yeah, the original Earth would be spinning, so it'd be more of an orbit. But that one would it might start or get the other one to orbit, but initially it just be pulled, right?
Well, because like technically an orbit is it's like falling towards the sun, but at an angle, and so that if this thing starts with like no velocity, then it would just get pulled like directly towards the sun.
Mm-hmm. But with the
Or
orbit
towards the
of
Earth.
our planet or other planets that it could be around, do you think that that planet would start its own orbit?
I don't think we're
Like-
qualified to answer these questions, and we might want to go back to Earth and not duplicate the Earth. We could duplicate rockets, though.
Law 1 of the duplication box is don't duplicate the Earth.
Yep. That's like
But-
when you get handed your first box, you're like, listen, all right, I know this is amazing, but there's one rule: don't duplicate the Earth.
Please.
Thinking about it though, you were talking about like jobs and stuff. I mean, all you would have to need is $1 bill, and you can endlessly duplicate it, or you can.
Well, but
endlessly
everyone
duplicate-
can do it, so money is no longer a thing. Because why
Well,
would
I
you?
But you can
Money would have to
duplicate
become
gold being
entirely-
backed, which is backing the money.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's
But-
still gonna have. You can. Still
But
have
gold
endless-
is useless. You can get infinite gold as long as you have one bar. So
We
like,
would
who
have to
cares
move
about
to
gold?
a credits.
everything's
like a credit
valueless
system.
though.
Like a credits, like the money you have is entirely, it's not physical. It's
Entirely arbitrary.
in
Or
the
you
system.
could be
Right.
compute like a network thing.
Right.
But how would you even earn? I guess just selling your duplicated products. But so how is someone going to make money? Your average Joe who like didn't invent an iPhone, how is he going to make money?
Well, again, we
Art?
still have RoboCop.
Art.
RoboCop.
Oh, like him being RoboCop?
Do we let's
trying to
take a
help.
step back? Do we need money?
Well,
It would
that's
just be a trade
another
of
question.
good, almost at that point.
Well, but like, I keep going back to your everyday dude, because like, how is he gonna survive? Because theoretically, no one wants what he has. Because anything he can give you, you can duplicate and get something else.
Yeah.
Because it's like, let's say he's not that great of an artist. Manual labor is pretty useless because what do you need labor for that you can't just duplicate an item to do? Like, I think your everyday person might be screwed in this situation.
Most probably,
Well,
unless they have a project that are close to completing.
what if we just gave everyone like UBI, like Universal Basic? You get an apple every day. You get
You get an
You know, you get a-
you get one dupe, because that is the thing. It like theoretically, let's say the government's still there. It costs them nothing to give these people apples. So
you
like,
can duplicate apple trees.
yeah, you can do. Yeah, you could duplicate an apple grove, and honestly, one of the biggest limiters now is space, because like
That's true.
I just moved to Nebraska. Nebraska suddenly became like the best state out there because you could just
I mean,
like claim
Yeah.
all of it.
and we go back to duplicating Earth and trying to put that forever away.
Well,
and
you could
somehow-
no, not Earth,
No,
but you
it's
could do
rule one.
skyscrapers.
We can't rule one. I don't even want to hear it.
It's like the I am
No,
robot.
I wasn't
thing.
saying that we should do that. I'm saying that would be one of our ways to go from that problem. We could create layers of the Earth by skyscrapers, and just have different like levels of Earth.
Yeah,
a
like we could
space
go full on
elevator.
Jetsons.
Yeah,
But also, we make like one SpaceX rocket or something, and then we get like a fleet of SpaceX rockets, and we can go to the moon. Moon is also a subset of don't duplicate the Earth. Don't duplicate the moon either.
Yeah, celestial bodies.
Yeah, exactly. So who do you think the most powerful person would be? Because everyone can. So like, who has the best claim to be like, yo, I'm the leader? Because like, would it be the person who can make like an iPhone? Would it be the person who owns like the
No.
most original items?
still be what's his face, the Amazon guy, because he could still
Jeff
deliver
Bezos?
every item. Yeah, he could still deliver every item.
But someone just needs to make their own drone, and boom, they can deliver every item.
But he has access to the original drones.
Well, but I'm saying, like, the Amazon drones are not exactly rocket science. Like, theoretically, I could make a drone with, like, after some research. And so, like, that in and of itself is, he has a lot of originals already, but you could make your own drone that like fairly easily. But
I would think physical things lose a bit if you could have some celebrity Liberty Give It type person, just like who could control the masses with their influence. You know, people are going to be looking for
Will Smith.
We're a big fan of Will Smith on this podcast, by the way.
Will Smith, people at least tolerate him. I don't think there's one person who doesn't dislike Will Smith.
Okay.
You know, it's always like a neutral or above.
All right, you saved yourself. We were about to throw down.
Okay. So, I mean,
and the recording.
That's something and that's something that can't be duplicated is Will Smith's winning persona.
Wow. Yeah. Those are words to live by.
Yeah, for real. Amen.
But so, yeah, that's a good point. So like but another thing I thought of is like computer coders, because you could have all these like new, like you made the new drone, but you need someone to code it. And so anything computer wise, you can't really just duplicate. You can duplicate code, just copy and paste. But like to make new code. So I think like coders are going to be anything computer wise. It's like hard to duplicate. To just say it's like, oh, you want 2 flash drives of useful data. It's like, well, no, that's the same data. I want like 2 new useful drives of data. Mm-hmm. All right, so we'll wrap this one up. So you've gotten this box, but you only get to pick one original item. What are you gonna pick?
Oh, you're really putting me on the spot.
So the one thing, like, I'm not picking any technology because in so many years technology is gonna be useless. Like, you could pick a food item, but the food item's gonna rot, and so. Like, because I would say, like, a pizza, because I love pizza, and I'd be happy with pizza the rest of my life, but that pizza's going to go bad after so long.
You could do a frozen pizza.
That's honestly maybe. Well, do you think a frozen pizza would last the rest of my natural life?
It depends at what state the copy comes out as.
It comes out at the same temperature.
Okay, you just duplicate a bunch of freezers. Each one, like, you get a big freezer. Then you put a smaller freezer in that one, like a Russian doll of freezers.
Okay.
Pretty soon you'll be
Babushka
at like
doll?
0 Kelvin. You'll be like 0 Kelvin in the center. That's where your pizza goes.
I'm not sure that's how heat transfer works, but
yeah,
I like where your head's at.
Yeah,
you could do Twinkies. Twinkies last a long time.
They do. Zombieland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you could try to do kind of like going back to the food thing. Get something like, you can even say the apple tree. You can grow like a huge apple tree thing, and that way you can continually regrowing.
A tree is a brilliant idea, because if you do a fully grown tree, like, it can live on its own. And because
I'll take the cake on this one. I'll be president. Brent doesn't need to be president anymore.
But no, shut up. What happens if I cut down your tree, though? Because it's not perfect.
Well, I mean, can't you just still take... I'm not sure if it's some kind of trees you can just take some of the roots and reduplicate it from. Or you can just take some of the apples and take some of their seeds. You still have part of the original.
True. Yeah.
So dropping down the tree, even a storm coming across, you'd still be able to recreate it. It's just would be the time would take years and decades to get back to where you were.
If you made 100 trees, you have a small forest that creates an ecosystem. Animals come in. You can hunt. You can breathe clean air.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Until someone who makes their RoboCop comes and just marches across the entire country with 1 billion RoboCops, I'm going with trees.
Until the series finale of Avatar: Last Airbender happens and the Fire Nation just completely obliterates the forest, I think I'm good.
Okay. So are you both going with trees?
Yeah, we're living in the woods together.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
I came up with a brilliant one. My final answer is a volcano, because I'm going to make my own continent. I'm going to duplicate enough volcanoes to make my own tropical island.
Okay, but even if you do that, there's no way you can control the amount of volcanoes you get. Your tropical island could be wiped out as soon as one erupts.
Well, it's not going to be wiped out. And I was like, erupt. What? It's not going to be wiped out because when it erupts, it's just going to generate more land. I can't live on it for a really long time, but I have my own continent. I'm gonna make Atlantis.
But that doesn't produce the trees or anything, would it?
After a very, very long time, yes.
Yeah, I think that's kind of
way out of my natural lifespan. But theoretically, I set it up. It like starts the basis of making this land, and then like 37 generations down, like little Brent Junior, like 37 times. He is going to have claim to an entire new continent.
I literally think we just made the world of Avatar in this theoretical thing, because now we have the Brent dynasty of fire lava people. We have the Kevin and Lindsay dynasty of forest people who will then, of course, live in their forest for years to come. Eventually, they're going to come like head to head.
Oh, well,
and clearly the forest people would win, because why not?
No, volcano people are going to win. Guaranteed. All right.
You guys are so like, the volcano people would be so isolated to a specific area for such a long time.
A specific area? I could duplicate enough volcanoes to go across the entire I could screw everyone over, but I could literally rid the ocean of water. By just making...
Are you going to breathe ash? Breathe volcanic ash?
Exactly. You're going to kill yourself. You've got nowhere to stay.
Well, that's a problem for Brent 7 Juniors down the line. All right.
I'm sorry, Brent 7 Junior.
Good stuff.
Look what we've done.
Kevin, I think you have an ad for us.
Right. So for everyone listening to us... these podcasts don't come for free. We do have to, drink water and everything. So we have a relevant sponsor for this podcast. You've heard of water. You know water. You love water. But this time, the people behind water have really outdone themselves. And Lindsay and Brent know all about this subject. They're experts in this. This time, the people behind water bring Water 2. This great new product. Brent and Lindsay, why don't you take it away? What's so great about Water?
Well, you see, with Water 1, my biggest problem was I would get wet. Like, when it goes on your skin, that you suddenly become wet, and you're like, I didn't want to be wet. With Water 2, they fixed that. No longer will you get wet when you get it on you.
Really, they thought of everything, didn't they?
Uh-huh. Lindsay, what else? Oh, wait, hold on. One more thing. I just love Water 2 so much. You ever had like a glass out and you forget about it for a while and then some of it evaporates into the air? Not anymore. They fixed that too. Oh, it's so great. I love it when I put my water out and it doesn't go away. Lindsay, what's your favorite part about Water 2?
Well, so the briefing I went to was about H2O2. I didn't know it was Water 2.0. It was H2O2. So I learned all about hydrogen peroxide.
You actually don't want to drink that stuff.
Yeah, complete opposite. You don't want to drink any of that, but you kind of want to stick with the water when it comes to drinking. But hydrogen peroxide has a lot of great qualities. Also, for,
well, they weren't. I don't know how you got into that meeting, but they didn't pay us any money, so stop talking about their product. All right, Water 2 being carried at all your local Thorntons and Krogers.
I did talk to the people. I just got off the phone. I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to whatever Lindsay was talking about. But I did just get off the phone with the branding people at Water 2, and there is a thing coming up where people think it's hydrogen peroxide. I want to say right here, right now, it is not. It's a new product, Water 2. This time, it doesn't get you wet. It stays in your cup when you put it in. It's fun. It's cool. All the kids are doing it. It'll take over the world. It's Water 2. What do you want?
Yeah, they have a snazzy logo too. If you go to water2.com water2.com/ it's better than normal water, but it's not hydrogen peroxide.
Water2.com is an open domain if you would like to purchase it.
Well, no, you got to do the / stuff. Don't bother checking it right
sorry.
now, though. But yeah, thank you, Water2, for sponsoring. And we're going to go on with the podcast because the podcast must go on. Lindsay, speaking of water, what do you have for us?
So yeah, speaking of water, we're gonna go hop in the shower and have some thoughts.
What if
But
we
you won't
did
get
the-
wet because it is piped with new water too.
That was quick. I'm surprised that Water2 already came and installed my new shower.
What if we actually did a segment from the shower? Do you think that would work out well?
It would echo a lot.
Yeah. And
My
it'd be
shower's
pretty
right
loud.
over there.
That's what I'm
All right,
thinking.
everyone, get up and go to your shower.
All right, pause the recording. We'll
No.
be
Who needs
right
to
back.
pause when you have free AirPods that you got from your job? I could just walk over there, turn on my
Dang.
patented Water 2.0 shower, get in.
And continue.
All right.
All right,
Sorry.
Lindsay,
All
go
right,
ahead.
some shower thoughts. I did not pick any of them out, so we're just going to go through them. If you guys don't like them, you can just boo me out, and we'll go to the next one. If you like it, we'll discuss it. First one. They don't let you smile in passport photos because they want you to look the same as if you were standing in line at customs for an hour.
I mean, there is a reason you don't they don't want you to smile. And I think it's like facial recognition or something.
Something like that.
So
I
Next
was-
one. Oh, good.
I was allowed to smile, just no teeth. So
Yeah.
I think that might be just a ploy by like dentists.
Because your teeth are so white and beautiful that they blind the cameras.
yeah,
Right, right.
big dentist out there is
Big dentist.
All right, the
not
next
looking
one.
out for us.
When you're a kid, you don't realize you're also watching your mom and dad grow up.
Dude, you didn't have to make me sad like that.
Dang.
Yeah.
There's a few that are better when they come up. Next one. The biggest flex is using your mobile data in your home because your Wi-Fi is being too slow.
I
Have
like
you guys
that.
ever had to do that? Yeah.
Guilty as charged.
I do that a decent amount because the Wi-Fi at my ancestral home is terrible.
All right. Pavlov probably thought about feeding his dogs every time someone rang a bell. I thought that one was interesting.
So
So-
like he trained himself to do it. I was talking with someone at work about this. They so they use radios at work, and he said that and the radio is like super loud, and so if you want to like muffle it, you put your hand over it or you like face it towards your body. And so he says now whenever there's like a initial beep that lets you know someone's about to talk. And so he says now whenever he's in the world and he hears a beep, he'll like put his hand over his shoulder to like cover his non-existent radio. Have you got I've trained myself one time, or like accidentally done this to myself as well. For like 1 year, I always had peanut butter and pretzels, and I would just like have that as a nighttime snack, and I would always have that after like coming out of the shower, and I had like music playing in the shower, and I always played the same playlist, and specifically like one song would always be on by the time I was eating. And so I noticed after that, whenever I heard that playlist, my mouth would start to salivate.
Huh. What
Have you
song
guys
was it?
ever like trained yourself or conditioned yourself like that in anything?
Kind of. So, when my first job, I was cleaning cars, and there was like the tunnel to get like your exterior cleaned, and then if they purchased an interior clean, like when they got near the end of the tunnel, a big buzzer would go off. That was really loud and ear piercing, and then I was trained to pretty much look for an oncoming car to wave them down and bring them into the right garage door and set them up so we can clean the inside of their car. So for the longest time, if I heard a similar sounding buzzer, I would look around for a car coming up and not even think about it.
That's
I also
great.
had like I would also like wake up in the middle of the night thinking that like I heard that sound because it was so like ear piercing, and I thought I was missing a car.
It's just the middle of night, like, and you just wake up in a cold sweat looking around for a car.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like anyone who's worked in a food service, it happens a week after working there because
one
you
hundred
hear the
percent.
same sounds over and over again.
Mhm.
One that I think of is I used to be a Jimmy John's delivery driver, the night shift, so uh, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m.
Oh wow.
So a lot of times we would be sitting in the shop with nothing to do, but when an order came in, the receipt would start coming out, and so now when I hear a receipt, I just like I like my shoulders like lurch forward because I'm so used to just hearing like a receipt ticking out every time. I freak out every person at a grocery store when the receipt comes out because I like start getting like a little twitchy, a little shifting my eyes back and forth.
Oh man, that's amazing.
All right, the next one
Jimmy
is
John's.
Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's will
You
scar
you think you
you.
can like say it's like, hey, I got PTSD from working at Jimmy John's. I need reimbursement for counseling for receipts coming out.
Yeah, I'll contact the We Bombastic Few legal team and I'll get back to you on that.
All right, good stuff.
Next one is the syllables in "On Your Mark, Get Set, Go" are a countdown. I never noticed that one before.
Whoa,
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah,
I am too.
I too am.
Did you guys ever have gym teachers in school who would say on your mark, get set, goat?
No.
And then
I
you would
don't think I
run
did.
and they'd be like, I didn't say go, and then they would
Oh
hike
my
their
God.
shorts up so far and just like snap their suspenders and blow their whistle at you.
No, I've
I don't know what
never
kind of school you
experienced
went to, but I don't think that's normal.
that.
Yeah, I really think I should go see a therapist for that.
You've got a
Anytime
lot
you
to
hear the
work
word
through.
goat now, you just you, like stop in place.
You
Can't
start
move.
sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coffee makes you hyper, but coffee shops are designed for people to chill, whereas alcohol is a depressant, but bars and clubs are designed for people to be energetic.
The duality of man.
So we need to fix this now. So like suddenly we need to make like coffee shops super exciting and high intensity stuff, and then bars are just going to be ultra depressing and just really just or not depressed but like chill. And
Do you
calm.
think that that would ever catch on though if you switched it around? Like at first, obviously people would be very estranged to it, but do you think that that would ever pick up if you switched it around?
I mean, I feel like you kind of need the balance between the two because it's like the it like returns you to an equilibrium of sorts.
And think, when do people go to coffee shops?
Uh,
In the morning.
That's very true.
yeah.
You don't want to go. It's morning. You just woke up. Your kids are crying. What? You're gonna go and get screamed at by some 20-something behind a coffee bar? Not a chance.
Yeah, and that's instead of like the bar or club, like that's typically like later at night, like when you get off work, or it's like the weekend when you want to like have fun or whatever versus trying to wake up.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get two more good ones.
Right. Oh, how about three more?
Three more good ones.
Biting your tongue while eating is a perfect example of how you can still screw up even with decades of experience.
Biting your tongue sucks. But I can't say I do it a lot while I'm eating. I normally, like, if I do it, it's when I'm talking. I think.
Yeah.
Whoa.
For me, it's chewing gum.
I was just about to say the same thing
I haven't
Chewing
chewed
gum. I don't know
gum in
what
like
it is.
10 years.
about gum, but I just. Oh,
It's our kryptonite.
I know.
All right.
It's like I'll split the gum. So what I'll do is I'll bite the gum into two discrete pieces and then
Mhm.
put each piece on each side of my molars, and that's when I'll bite my tongue.
So you're telling me there's an exact formula as to when it happens, and yet you haven't solved it?
Like an addict, I just can't stop. I just gotta have it on both sides.
Pain is the only way you can feel anymore.
Yeah, why does this gum taste like blood?
Why does it come with so much pain? If Eminem's mom wanted to, she could probably make a good amount of money selling her own spaghetti sauce.
I imagined like the animated living M&Ms. And I was like, what kind of chocolate spaghetti sauce do people want?
Have you not seen Elf?
No. I have seen
I,
it. That's disgusting. That's the worst scene ever.
All right, the last one, Brent, I know you will appreciate a lot for the second half, but not the first half. Oh, running from the cops is the ultimate double or nothing.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, you're running from the cops. Let's say you have 3 behind you, and they're all average cops. What do you, you're in, let's say you're in your hometown. Like, what do you do to get away from, like, so you know the area. Like, how do you get away from cops?
Well, obviously, all cops listen to We Bombastic Few. So, what what happens when they learn my secret hideout? All right,
Exactly.
now, do you have one prepared?
Yes.
All right.
I never leave my house without a pocket full of marbles.
Genius.
No, I have like an oil slick attachment to my backpack. I just like pull the drawstring.
Brent is the Batmobile. He just has like all these little gadgets ready.
I don't know. There's like a lake I'm thinking of that I could jump in. Maybe.
I would not try to run because
I am a responsible citizen. This was a trap. No, I'm not gonna run, police.
I don't know. Something about having a pocket full of marbles just changes you.
Yeah.
It fills your head with dreams of power.
Look deep into the marbles.
That's a different episode. All right. I think that will do it with those marbles. Lindsay, wrap it up for us.
Right. As always, we encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, follow, do all the cool stuff, so that you can support us, so that we can support your need to be entertained. We are putting an end to world building because it was Daniel's beloved baby, and
Bombasia just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, Bombasia wouldn't be the same. So out of respect for our fallen, not really fallen hero,
captured by the Russians still.
Captured by the Russians. He is a hero. We are going to end that. We might do a recap at some point, but for now, that is not happening.
The movie, we did the movie deal with Warner Brothers. It should be coming in the next year or so. So keep an eye out.
Directed by Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think George Lucas is going to come in and throw some few thoughts in it. Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be in it. Will Smith.
You guys are forgetting the best director, though. Christopher Nolan is going to be taking charge of the entire movie. Because why not? Christopher Nolan is the only notable director out there.
Wow. These are some hot takes being made at the end here.
Hans Zimmer is going to do the score.
All right.
Also, kind of a weird one. Richard Nixon is back, and he's on this project. So,
and he's in a love interest with Michelle Obama. It's a little weird. Oprah also comes in, and he gets eyes for Oprah. It goes into some weird stuff. But
you've got to watch it a few times. You got to watch it like 3 times
to really understand it. The love triangle is there's a lot going on.
But yeah, today Brent did seem to be quite the Flibberty Gibbet, but aside from that, I'm gonna let him have a few more words. Brent, what are your final thoughts?
I forgot to say Flibberty Gibbet, and so I apologize for that. Shout out to Mom, as always. Will Smith, come to the podcast. I'm the main host. Got those out of the way. Yeah. So thanks to everyone who's listening to this episode. I know we missed last week, and so with the whole missing a comrade to the Russians, it's a little hard to like organize episodes nowadays. So it might be more of a bi-weekly thing here. But if we can, we are definitely going to still try and do every week. But
Brent and I are committed still.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just see how that goes. So just every week or so, if you want to just tap on the podcast app, see if We Bombastic Few has uploaded an episode, then that'd be awesome. But yeah, I think that's it from me.
Kevin, what are your thoughts of being a exclusive guest to We Bombastic Few?
Well,
we have exclusive rights, Tim. By the way, you signed something in the beginning. You can't show up on any other podcast ever.
Well, yeah, I did know that coming in, so that's okay. I'm happy to be one of the few. I hope everyone listening aspires to be one of the few in the future, and hopefully we can just get more and more people in the few, and that way that just the few will be the majority.
I just realized that is a brilliant marketing thing. Like, we claim that you could be a part of the few. Because originally it was just like the 3 hosts. Oh man, this is brilliant. All right,
I've contributed enough. This will be my last showing on the podcast. Thank you.
We'll put our PR team on that.
Yeah. But no, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. You won't be coming back unless people liked you.
I dare say that you might have been one of my favorite guests we've had on here. Wow. Don't tell the other guests. They'll hear it if they decide to ever listen to our podcast.
My ego's already big enough. I don't need that. Please.
But with that, ladies and gentlemen, have a bombastic week.
We'll see you next time.